that you love. With cell barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans since 1883.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches. Easy Feed and Supply, proudly serving Albany since 2011.
Hi, welcome back, Albany fans. My name's Tony Wheeler. I got Jace Tinkle here on the computer with me. We're here at the City Park to watch some Lady Lions softball. Beautiful afternoon here to watch some baseball or some softball. A few clouds in the sky, nice breeze, 80 degrees, partly cloudy here, and Barrera has finished her warm-up pitches, and we're about ready for first pitch here as the Lady Lions will be wearing their red pants, red jerseys. It says Albany across their chest. Numbers are outlined in white. The Lady Eagles from Abilene in their black pants, black jerseys, Carolina blue. And the first pitch thrown by Barrera is going to be a swing and a miss and a strike number one. That pitch was on the inside corner. So this is Jordan, the leadoff hitter for the Lady Eagles here. And Barrera's 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss for strike number two. So we'll try to get through some of these starters on offense here. Got Maddie Parrott at catcher. Here's the pitch by Barrera. It's going to be foul tipped no, it's swing and a miss. It gets by Parrott. Parrott has to throw down to first base. He goes over the first baseman's head into right field, and Jordan will advance to second. So had a strikeout, drop third strike. We'll have Jordan at second base. Your starting pitcher for the Lady Lions is Barrera. Your shortstop is Hefner. You got Lopez over at third. Lopez over at first, Keene over at third. Your second baseman is Grady. Your outfield consists of Trail, Graham, and Brown. So runner at second base, and this pitch is going to get by Parrott back to the backstop. The runner Jordan will advance to third base. So no outs here in the top of the first inning. A beautiful afternoon here for some softball action. If you're around the neighborhood, you want to catch some baseball, you can head up to the baseball field. The varsity boys playing here at 5 o'clock also. Here's the pitch. And Barrera's pitch is going to miss low. It's going to be a 3-0 count here. So Barrera down 3-0. With Jordan standing at first base, so a bit of trouble here early on in this first inning. Here's the pitch. Now it's going to be a called strike as she paints the outside corner. This is Lady Eagle batter batting from the left side here. That's Hodel. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be a called strike. Strike that was thrown about letter high. And count is now full. It's got a full count here. Keene, the third baseman, plays even with the third base bag. You got Jordan at first base here, so runner at third. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss inside and high. So now runners at the corners with no outs here in the top of the first inning. Your outfield for Coach Fuentes, they pretty much play straight away. A little deeper maybe than you would normally see them, but of course in softball, usually the softball holds up in the air a little longer than it does in baseball. That pitch is going to be a called strike, but the Lady Eagle will take second base. So now runners at second and third with no outs here. Barrera wears number 21. The righty delivery. A swing and a miss. Strike number 2, so an 0-2 count here. First batter of the game, Jordan, reached on the drop third strike, so we should have one out here, but the ball got away from Parrott, and she was unable to make a good throw over to Lopez. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. That'll be a strikeout. So Barrera will strike out the batter for the first out of the inning. So there's one out here in the top of the first inning. The wind up in the pitch, swing and a miss. You can say that these Lady Eagles are being extremely aggressive here. This is Carragher. Here's the pitch. That's going to get by Parrott, but Barrera will cover home, and the runner Jordan will stay at third base here. I believe that pitch was a pitch that was a ball. The count should be 1-1 here. Got a nice little crowd here showing up the City Park. Here's Barrera's pitch. Swing and a miss for strike number 2. On Tuesday afternoon, the Lady Lions had to play Stanford, a powerhouse in the softball program, and that's going to be a called strike. Barrera gets a nasty little pitch that catches the inside corner for a strikeout. That's out number 2, so 2 outs here, and see if she can get away with allowing these first 2 runners to reach base. We got runners at second and third with 2 outs here in the top of the first inning. But the Lady Lions took one on the chin against Stanford. Looking to rebound here this afternoon. Got an 0-1 count. Lopez, the first baseman, plays a couple of steps in front of the first base bag. Here's the pitch. A swing and a miss. Count now 0-2 as Gonzalez swung over the top of that drop ball there. Little sinker action on that pitch by Barrera. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Now it's going to miss outside. Jordan, the runner at third base, she's getting down the line here, hoping for a missed ball by the catcher and get the Lady Eagles on the scoreboard. Here's Barrera's pitch. Now it's going to miss low for ball number 2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here at 2 outs, and we're in the top of the first inning. As Coach Fuentes relays the location in to the catcher here. Here's the pitch. That's, I thought it was the third strike. So did Barrera. Barrera was halfway to the third base dugout. And it'll be full now. So a full count here to Gonzalez. Wind up in the delivery. And that's going to miss high. So they're going to be bases loaded here. And this will bring up Gonzalez also. So another Gonzalez up here with the bases loaded. At 2 outs, so got to force anywhere here. Barrera has officially struck out 3 batters this inning. Going to have to record the 4th one. That's a strike, so a swing and a miss. Hefner, the shortstop, plays a little closer towards the third base bag. Got a big gap up the middle. Here's the pitch by Barrera, and that's going to be a called strike. The ball falls out of the mitt of Parrott. It falls right in front of home plate. And Barrera has a 0-2 count here, and she's one pitch away from getting out of this inning and leaving the bases loaded. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. That's going to be a strikeout. So there'll be the Lady Eagles leave 3 stranded, but the Lady Lions get out of the top of the first inning without giving up a run. So we're on to the bottom of the first. You're listening to Lady Lions softball.
In 2006, there was a vision, and that vision became a reality when the feed store opened its doors in 2012. The feed store is a place where students are fed both mentally and physically. We hold several events throughout the year, along with Tuesday lunches for all juniors and seniors during the school year. We host the famous Running Man event on the last Saturday of October for all junior and senior high students, along with worship nights on the last Wednesday of every month. Our mission is simple. We are a non-denominational youth mission facility where the youth of Albany and surrounding areas have a safe and supervised place to play, study, and relax.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
All right, welcome back. Great job there by Barrera to get out of a jam as the bases were loaded. All right, so we have some Lady Line action and line athletics here this week. So got a lot of stuff going on next week. As you got Monday, you got district golf. Got the high school golf team over at Shady Oaks. They'll play 2 rounds. They'll play on Monday and Tuesday. Then Tuesday at Hawley. Both programs will be at Hawley to take on the Lady Bearcats and the Bearcats. Wednesday afternoon, high school track meet at Cisco. Thursday, you got the high school tennis team over in Abilene. And then Friday afternoon, we got home games against Haskell here at the park at 5 o'clock. So I got a busy week of high school sports, and you sprinkle in a little bit of junior high baseball. That's what I'm coaching. And tell you what, the week goes extremely fast. I know Little League has started. It's just a fun time of the year to see all these athletes and local athletes, and even the young ones playing and doing stuff that they love. And Jace, I look up here behind us, and I don't know if there's a skateboard available. You might have to show me some tricks here in a minute. You got any skateboard abilities?
I do not.
All right, well, we don't want to see any broken bones before that trap meet on at Cisco for sure. So, all right, so here comes the Lady Lions up to bat here, and this will be Maddie Parrott, the leadoff hitter for Coach Fuentes. Coach Fuentes in the third base coaching box here as he'll relay some of the signs to Maddie Parrott. Maddie playing the catcher position this afternoon. Jordan, the pitcher for the Lady Eagles, and here's the pitch. A swing and a miss. Ball appeared to dive right at the home plate, and not sure what the count is. I think it's 1-1. We're set up here in center field. Got a beautiful tent, a nice tent that's keeping us shaded. Thank Coach Peacock for coming up and getting all this set up for us. As Maddie Parrott wears number 3. The catcher takes a pitch that's going to miss high, so the count now 3 balls and 1 strike. So 3 balls, 1 strike here to the leadoff hitter for the Lady Lions. Jordan in the circle. Here's the pitch, and that's going to miss outside for ball number 4. So Parrott will get a leadoff walk here. The Lady Lions had their first base runner of the afternoon, and talked about temperatures close to 80 degrees here at first pitch. Winds gusting about 13 to 14 miles an hour. So we got some nice wind here. Kind of going through my mic Here's Jordan's pitch. That's going to miss inside for ball number 1. This is Brown, so Brown up to bat here. She wears number 14. So Parrott at first base, Brown up to bat. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be a called strike. Count now 1-1. I was talking to Coach Fuentes prior to the game when we were talking about, I was mentioning how the conditioner dirt at the high school baseball team field is the high winds of lately have really worked on the conditioner, and he talked about the same thing here at the softball field where these winds have really blown some of their conditioner off the field. It's going to be a hit that's going to roll towards the shortstop. She's going to trip up in short left field, and everybody's going to be safe. So Brown's going to reach safely. She just hit a ball that kind of was slowly rolling towards the hole between the shortstop and third baseman. The shortstop is a left-handed girl, and she made a nice play, but then slipped on the outfield grass. So now runners at first and second here for the Lady Lions. We got something going here with no outs. This will bring up Hefner, and the pitch is going to get by the catcher, and Parrott and Brown will advance up to second and third base. So runners now at second and third with no outs here, and Hefner up. Hefner going to foul this one off at the plate. So the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here to Hefner. And I was here doing a game last year, and Hefner took one over the scoreboard out here in left field. So she has the power to take one deep, and with this gusty wind that's blowing out, she gets one up in the air. Maybe she can send one deep. Count now 2-1. So 2 balls, 1 strike here. We're in a scoreless ball game, so no runs, but we're just here in the bottom of the first inning. Pitch is going to miss high for ball number 2, so 2 balls, or maybe 3 balls and 1 strike, so 3-1. So 3-1 here, the Hefner. See if she's got the green light here. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss low and outside for ball number 4. So that's going to be a second walk issued by Jordan. The bases are loaded here with no outs, and Lady Lions got a big opportunity here with Barrera up to bat, and Barrera can help herself out. She can help her own cause here. The bases loaded. Here's the pitch. It's going to be grounded sharply to the second baseman. She's going to kick it around. She fires over to first base. Barrera is going to be safe. That'll score a run. The Lady Lions take a 1-0 lead here on a ball that likely should have at least recorded 1 out and had an opportunity to record 2, but the second baseman had a difficult time picking up the softball. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss as Lopez swings right over a changeup for strike number 1. So bases are still loaded, no outs here. Lopez up to bat. Lopez wears number 18, plays first base for Coach Fuentes' team. Pitch is going to miss up in the zone, so the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Lopez. Here's Jordan's pitch. Swing and a miss. Lopez way out in front of that changeup. Count now 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here. No outs. Bases loaded. Lady Lions lead 1-0. Here's Jordan's pitch. That's going to skip in on 2 hops to the catcher. So the count now 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Lopez, and see if Lopez can put something in play. Anything hit hard on the ground would likely score a run. And Lopez is going to swing over the top of a pitch that went right down the middle. That'll record the first out of the inning for your Lady Lions. This will bring up Keene. So Keene up the bat with the bases loaded here. Lady Lions leading 1-0 with 1 out. Here's Jordan's pitch. That's going to be outside for ball number 1. So got 1 ball, no strikes here. Jordan, the pitcher for the Lady Eagles, works quickly here. And that's going to be strike number 1. So one ball and 1 strike here. Jordan really mixing up her speeds. Not a hard thrower, so the Lady Lions just going to have to make the adjustment to wait on the softball. Here's the pitch. Keene's going to sky this one towards right field. It's going to get over the head of the second baseman. Lady Lions will score a run, so Keene will get an RBI single. And Barrera nearly got tagged out at second base. She rounded second base, and the ball was thrown in behind her, and luckily she got back to the bag, but the Lady Lions lead 2-0. That's going to be a called strike. This is Trail. So Trail up the bat with the bases loaded and 1 out. Here's Jordan's pitch. That's going to miss outside, so the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here. Lady Lions lead 2-0. Jordan back into the circle here. Here's the pitch. That's going to be low for ball number 2. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Trail bats from the right side here. Here's Jordan's pitch. That's going to miss low and inside. It gets by the catcher, but Lady Lions will stay put here. There's only 1 out. With Jordan having a hard time commanding the strike zone. You can see that Coach Fuentes and the Lady Lions approach is be patient. See if they can work a walk here. Pitch is going to get by the catcher, and that's ball number 4, though. So Trail will run down to first base here. She's rewarded a walk. That'll score another run, and the Lady Lions lead 3-0. So Lady Lions 3, Lady Eagles 0, and first pitch is going to be a called strike. There's who this is here. Can you tell what number that is, Jace? A hard time seeing. A swing and a miss. So get the bases loaded here. Lady Lions leading 3-0. Just 1 out. The count is 0-2 here. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's going to be strike number 3. So pitch that seemed to be low in the strike zone will be the second strikeout of the afternoon. I think that was number 13. A swing and a miss as Jordan throws one on the outer part of the plate. This is Graham up the bat, I believe. Strike number 2, so 2 strikes here. So an 0-2 count here to Graham with the bases loaded. Lady Lions leading 3-0. Nice crowd coming out here to watch some Lady Lions softball. Pitch is going to roll into the catcher for ball number 1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here. Outfielders for the Lady Eagles. They're all playing fairly deep other than the right fielder. She plays a few steps in. Here's the pitch to Graham. That's going to miss inside for ball number 2, I believe. So the count now 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here. Lady Lions lead 3-0 out here on the Clearfork Bank scoreboard. Here's the pitch. That's going to be lined right at the shortstop. Shortstop catches it up over her head, and that's a loud out. So the Lady Lions will leave them loaded, but they were able to score 3 runs. So we're on to the second inning. Your Lady Lions lead 3-0.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches. Easy Feed and Supply, proudly serving Albany since 2011.
Hi, welcome back. You're listening to Lady Lions softball. Lady Lions lead 3-0 here after the conclusion of the first inning. So on to the top of the second. Barrera trying to finish up her warm-up pitches here. It's me and Jace Tinkle sit out here, or sit up here on the outfield. I guess out in center field, right close to the flagpole here, and on the concrete base of the skate park. Got some of the elementary kids behind us, running some of that energy off that they somehow still have after a full day of school. So Barrera and the Lady Lions back out there with a 3-0 lead here, and Coach Fuentes will signal in the pitch location here for Barrera. She's going to miss up and high and outside for ball number 1. So Lady Lions in that first inning, Jordan had a hard time finding the strike zone, and Lady Lions were able to capitalize on some command issues and able to pick up that 3-0 lead. Count now 1-1 after Barrera gets a pitch called strike on the lower part of the strike zone to Pinson. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that's going to be grounded towards the first base dugout. That's going to be a foul ball. Lopez will retrieve the softballs. You got the Lady Eagles from Abilene over in the first base dugout. Lady Lions in the third base dugout. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. That'll be should be a strikeout. Yep, that's a strikeout. Umpire officially said that she foul tipped it into the mid of Parrott. So good job there by Parrott to squeeze that third strike. And Barrera doing a good job this afternoon. That's the actually the 5th strikeout of the afternoon. Now the umpire will walk down towards the Lady Eagle dugout. Is upset, I don't think with any of the coaching or the players. It may have been a spectator in the stands that he took issue to. Now he walks over and talks to the third base coach, which is actually the manager. He got one out here. That ball is going to be hit weakly towards the first baseman. It's going to spin foul. right off the hands of the Lady Eagle batter. That's Miller. Miller playing first base. It's going to be strike. No, it's going to be a ball, so the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Lady Lions leading 3-0 here on a beautiful afternoon for some high school softball. Swing and a miss as Miller took a monster cut at the softball. It's going to be a 1-2 count, so 1 ball, 2 strikes. We were hoping for some rain this afternoon, yesterday in the day, and looked like we missed out on that. Like most of the showers were to the south and east of us. Barrera's pitch was a pitch that was low for ball number 2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here. Got an out recorded here in the top of the 2nd inning. That's going to be a called strike, and then another strikeout for Barrera, and she's setting down these Eagles. So as long as Barrera finds the strike zone, the Eagles have yet to show that they can put a ball in play. This will bring up Johnson. A swing and a miss. Johnson, a slow swing at that pitch. Count now 0-1. Keene, the third baseman, she still plays a few steps in front of the third base bag. She plays rather shallow. As if, we were playing on a baseball field, she would be playing on the infield grass. Hefner, the shortstop, playing pretty much shaded still towards third base. That's going to be a strikeout, so Johnson's going to be recorded for the 3rd out, and that'll end the inning. You're listening to Lady Lions Softball.
In 2006, there was a vision, and that vision became a reality when the feed store opened its doors in 2012. The feed store is a place where students are fed both mentally and physically. We hold several events throughout the year, along with Tuesday lunches for all juniors and seniors during the school year. We host the famous Running Man event on the last Saturday of October for all junior and senior high students, along with worship nights on the last Wednesday of every month. Our mission is simple. We are a non-denominational youth mission facility where the youth of Albany and surrounding areas have a safe and supervised place to play, study, and relax.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
We're the bank you've always...
All right, welcome back here. Lady Lions leading 3-0. We were talking about, me and Jace during the break, how this sunshine lately is trying to work on our summer tans, and track meet is it yesterday? The high school track meet? Yeah, yesterday's track meet. Had the junior high track meet last Friday. It's been quite the sporting event going on here at the local facilities, and it's been some beautiful weather for it. Other than the wind, can't hardly complain. As the Lady Lions lead 3-0 here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. This will bring up Parrott, I believe. So Parrott will lead off the 2nd inning, just like she led off the 1st inning. It's pretty good when you bat around in an inning. You'd like to see the Lady Lions come away with a few more. And Parrott's going to hit one right at the center fielder. She'll take about 3 steps in, make a catch. That'll be the 2nd consecutive loud out for your Lady Lions here. So the Lady Lions starting to hit the ball a little harder and really have nothing to show for it. They ended the 1st inning on a line shot at the shortstop, and then Parrott followed that one up with a line shot to center field, and it's allowed Jordan to record a couple of outs. This will bring up Brown. Yeah, if you're in the area and you want to catch some softball, head up here to the city park and watch the Lady Lions. And if you are more into watching the game of baseball and want to watch the high school boys, they're up down the street at the high school taking on the Eagles from Abilene also. So got lots of baseball this afternoon, softball action. I believe Little League's also playing this afternoon, so kind of make the trip all around town and pick up some action. That's going to be a called strike to Brown. The count now, 2 balls and 1 strike, I believe. 3-1, maybe 3-1. Yeah, 3-1. That pitch is going to miss low. That's going to be ball 4. So Brown will make her way to first base, and that'll get a runner at first base here with 1 out. Lady Lions leading 3-0. We talked about it during our last break about how busy next week will be. It's crazy to think. So tomorrow, the junior high will be headed over to Cisco for their district trap meet, and that'll kind of put the conclusion to the junior high sports calendar outside of maybe tennis. Of course, they're playing baseball also, but that's not tied to the high school or to the school. But for the most part, junior high season is coming to a screeching halt here pretty soon. Look up how many trap meets y'all have left besides the district meet. Just Cisco and then district? Cisco is district? Okay, so high school only has their meet next week. That's the district meet at Cisco also. So when these kids start preparing in August, it seems like it would take a long time to get to April and May, and those seniors think, well, it'll be a while before I graduate, and it's a blink of an eye, and it goes from August to the end of May. That ball's going to be over the glove of the shortstop, so a good hit there for Hefner. Hefner puts it for a single, and that'll move the runner Brown up to third base. So runners at the corners here. So runners at first and third, 1 out. Lady Lions leading 3-0, and this will bring up Barrera. Last at bat, Barrera reached on an error. She hit it right at the second baseman, but was able to get down the line to get to first base and see if she can hit one in the gap here. Here's the first pitch. It's going to be grounded right to the shortstop. She'll glove it. She'll fire it over to first base. That'll get by the first baseman. That'll score 1 run, and Barrera is around first, headed to second. So it's going to be a throw-in error by the shortstop, but it'll score a Lady Line. It's going to be 4-0 now. Now with runners at second and third. That's Hefner and Barrera. And this will bring up Lopez with 1 out. So if you get your baseball field this afternoon and your softball, you can head down to Cisco tomorrow. I think that trap meet will start somewhere around 9:30 tomorrow with the field events. And then with the running events at the conclusion of those field events. Here's Jordan's pitch, and that's going to miss inside, so the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Lopez seemed to be struggling picking up the softball in her first at bat. As Jordan really mixes up her speeds, and she's going to throw that one on the outside corner for strike number 1. So 2 balls and 1 strike here to Lopez. Lopez really rehearsing her swing, trying to keep her hands back and barrel up the softball. That's going to miss low for ball number 3. So 3-1 here to Lopez. Keen on deck. So Keen would get the bat with the bases loaded here if Lopez can work a walk. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And Lopez is going to hit this one towards the shortstop. She'll glove it. Throws towards first base, and that's going to get by the first baseman. That'll score a couple of runs. Not a whole lot of effort to go to retrieve that softball as it got by the first baseman. What's the score you got? 6-0. Looks like there'll be some kind of substitution here as the Eagles manager will walk out. Yeah, they're going to replace the first baseman. Maybe the first baseman was injured because she didn't really make much of an effort to catch the softball, and then once it got by her, she really didn't take out after it. So it may have been an injury-related situation, and the coach is making a substitution, brought a player off the bench to play first base. But Lopez stands at second base. Lady Lions leading 6-0. We're at a little bit of a disadvantage. The scoreboard is to our right, with the sun kind of glaring on it. It's a little hard for us to see here, but Jace is doing a good job on the video, so you can see the score there. Here's the pitch to Keene, and that's going to miss up high in the zone. Count now 1-1, I believe. 1 ball, 1 strike here. Lopez at second base. Lady Lions coming off a tough loss to Stanford on Tuesday, and has showed the rebound here early on, as we're in the second inning, the bottom of the second inning, already up 6-0. Jordan looks in for her sign. Big long pause. Here's the pitch. That's going to be hit towards the right fielder, and it'll fall down in foul territory, so it's going to be a strike. So the count now 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here. Lady Eagles third baseman. She plays 2 steps in front of the third base bag, about a step and a half off the third base line. Here's the pitch. And that's going to miss low and outside to Keene. Count now full. First baseman has just checked in. She's really crowding up towards what would be the infield grass. That pitch is going to miss high. So Keene will draw a walk. So Lopez and Keene at first and second. And this will bring up, let's see here, Trail. So Trail up to bat for the Lady Lions with 1 out. That's going to get by the catcher. Lopez up to third base, Keene to second. So now 2 runners in scoring position here, and see if Trail can get a base hit here to score a couple of runs in a 6-0 game. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be fouled off. It's going to go to the backstop. It went off the end of the bat of Trail. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's going to miss low and outside. I'm sure most of y'all, just kind of like me, last night had a late night. Of course, I watched my Duke Blue Devils beat Arizona, and after the conclusion of that basketball game, because March Madness, I turned it over and watched the Red Raiders defeat Arkansas in a tremendous March Madness game that went overtime, and the Red Raiders of Lubbock able to make a comeback and punch their ticket to the Elite Eight. The ball's going to be hit to the third baseman, and she's going to kick it around. That'll score Lopez. Keene will stay at second base, and Trail will reach base safely over at first. So runners at first and second here, and Lady Lions leading 7-0. Red Raiders able to end that regulation or tie the game on like a 16 to finish the second half on a 16-2 run, and found an opportunity to punch their ticket to play the Florida Gators. Ball's going to be hit sharply towards the shortstop. She'll underhand it over to the third baseman to record Keene for out number 2. So there's 2 outs now. Runner still at first and second. A 7-0 game here. We're in the bottom of the second inning. It's a good job there by the shortstop for the Lady Eagles. Here's Jordan's pitch. That's going to be lined into left field. It gets down in front of the left fielder. Byer, it's going to go all the way towards the wall here. 1 run around to score. The second run around third. Coach Fuentes will wave her home, and that's going to be a triple there for the Lady Lions. Great job there by Graham, as Graham hit that ball right at the feet of the left fielder, and now she's kind of limping around. She fell to the grass out here in the outfield, and Graham able to get a triple and score a couple of runs. And pitch by Jordan's going to miss way outside as the catcher had to leap for the softball. This will bring up Maddie Parrott. So Parrott up to bat here. Sure, awful hard to see those numbers. So Parrott, the leadoff hitter. Count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here. 10-0 Albany lead. Here's the pitch. And Parrott's going to hammer that up the middle. That nearly went off the hip of the pitcher. That'll be an RBI single. That'll score another run to make it 11-0. Nice piece of hitting there by Parrott. And this will bring up Brown, as Brown will bat for the second time this inning. Parrott over at first base. Here's the pitch. That'll get by the catcher, and it'll roll up towards the first base dugout, and Parrott will get into second base. So Parrott now at second with 2 outs. Jordan looking in for her sign. Here's the windup and delivery. That's going to miss up in the zone for ball number 2. So 2 balls and no strikes here. Another action tonight. There'll be some more college basketball games. It's always a fun part of the year when you got March Madness going on, and by the end of the weekend we'll know who will be in the Final Four. Pitch is going to miss low for ball number 3. So 3 balls and 1 strike here to Brown. Parrott stands at second base. There is 2 outs in this inning. Lady Lions really have gotten the bats going here in this bottom of the second. And that's going to be a called strike. The count now 3-2. So Brown took a pitch on the lower part of the zone, but the umpire called it a strike. Lady Eagles wear their black pants, black jerseys. Got Carolina blue socks. That's hard for me to say too, Carolina blue, but numbers in blue. The black jerseys, there's a little bit of blue on their sleeves of their softball shirts. Of course, some of these girls have their sleeves kind of rolled up. Swing and a miss. Parrott will run down to third base. She'll leisurely stroll into third base. Brown still remains at first base, so now runners at first and third. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss up in the zone. Brown staying over at first base. It's Hefner. I believe this is Hefner. Up to bat. She'll sky this one towards the left fielder. She'll run in and she'll make the catch. Nice catch there by the left fielder to retire Hefner, and that'll be the third out of the inning, but not before your Lady Lions could score 8 runs or so. So score now 11-0. So you're listening to Lady Lions softball. We'll be right back after these short commercial breaks.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches. Easy Feed and Supply, proudly serving Albany since 2011.
In 2006, there was a vision, and that vision became a reality when the feed store opened its doors in 2012. The feed store is a place where students are fed both mentally and physically. We hold several events throughout the year, along with Tuesday lunches for all juniors and seniors during the school year. We host the famous Running Man event on the last Saturday of October for all junior and senior high students, along with worship nights on the last Wednesday of every month. Our mission is simple. We are a non-denominational youth mission facility where the youth of Albany and surrounding areas have a safe and supervised place to play, study, and relax.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock.
All right, we got some breaking news. I went out of commercial. I said 11-0. It's actually 10. Jace ran over and checked the scoreboard for us, and so Lady Lions lead 10-0. Able to score 7 runs in that second inning to make it 10-0. And Barrera back out there to pitch here in the top of the third inning, and Barrera has recorded 6 strikeouts, well 6 outs on strikeouts. Really had 7 strikeouts, but one of them was a drop third strike that didn't record an out. And that's going to be a called strike as Barrera throws a pitch on the outer part of the pitching zone for strike number 1. So no balls and 1 strike here for Barrera. Here's the Lady Lions pitcher. She'll and another called strike is kind of a delayed call by the home plate umpire. Count now 0-2. So no balls, 2 strikes here. Barrera working off the first base side of that pitching rubber. That's going to be a strikeout, a swing and a miss. Out number 1. So good job there by Barrera. Graham, your right fielder, scooted back towards the outfield fence. So she plays fairly deep out here in right field. Pitch looks like it's going to miss for ball number 1. So 1 ball, no strikes here, no 1 out. Count now 2-0 as Barrera misses up in the zone for ball number 2. Left-handed hitter up here. I'm trying to figure out where we're at in this batting order. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be softly tapped towards the third base dugout. That'll be strike number 1. So 2 balls and 1 strike here. Update on the baseball team. Oh, that ball's going to be hit towards Keene. Keene gloves it over to first base. Nice play by Keene and Lopez to record out number 2. So Barrera walks over towards Keene and tells her how good she did on that ground ball as Keene came up firing the ball and he had a speedy runner over at first base for out number 2. I got an update over at the baseball complex as our boys are leading 3-0 in the top of the 3rd inning. So up 3-0 in the 3rd inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. That's going to be strike number 2. So got 2 outs here and 2 strikes on the batter. So Barrera 1 pitch away from this top of the 3rd inning. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss on a changeup. It gets by Parrott. Now Parrott will fire over to Lopez to record the strikeout, and that will end the inning. So a quick inning for your Lady Lions. Score remains at 10-0. We're on to the bottom of the 3rd. You're listening.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
We're the bank you've always known and trusted, a part of your community for generations. And now, First National Bank of Albany Breckenridge is Clear Fork Bank. We're still privately owned and independent. You'll find the same dedicated team, the same friendly faces, and the same strong relationships with our customers. Our offerings have expanded to better serve you, but our commitment to local banking is steadfast. Clear Fork Bank, serving Texans since 1883.
In 2006, there was a vision, and that vision became a reality when the feed store opened its doors in 2012. The feed store is a place where students are fed both mentally and physically. We hold several events throughout the year, along with Tuesday lunches for all juniors and seniors during the school year. We host the famous Running Man event on the last Saturday of October for all junior and senior high students, along with worship nights on the last Wednesday of every month. Our mission is simple. We are a non-denominational youth mission facility where the youth of Albany and surrounding areas have a safe and supervised place to play, study, and relax.
Hi, welcome back. Here is the Lady Lions up on a 10-0 lead here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and this will bring up the Lady Lions up to bat here as Jordan stays in the circle for the Lady Eagles. That ball's going to be skied and hammered towards left field, off the fence on a 1-hop. Barrera around first, headed towards second. That's going to be a stand-up double. Good hit there by Barrera. She skied one over the left fielder's head and took 1 hop off the chain link fence here out in the gap between the center fielder and left fielder. So great hit there by Barrera. And this will bring up Lopez. Lopez able to knock in a couple of runs in her last at bat. That pitch is going to miss up in the zone for ball number 1. So 1 ball, no strikes here to Lopez. Lopez is starting first baseman for Coach Fuentes. She's 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Here's the pitch by Jordan. And it's going to be skied right at us. Center fielder will move back a few steps and make the catch. The ball hung up in the air, and at one time I thought it was going to carry a little further towards us, but about 6 or 8 feet in front of the chain link fence, and that's going to be a long out. This Lopez will fly out to the center fielder. This ball's going to be caught by the catcher on a bounce, and this will bring up Keene. So Keene up to bat here, the third baseman. Count now 1-0. This one's going to get through the mitt of the catcher, and Brera will make her way down to third base here with 1 out. So Brera at third with 1 out. Lady Lions lead 10-0. We're in the bottom of the third inning. And Keene with an opportunity to, she puts it on the ground anywhere, more than likely would score Brera unless it's hit right back at the pitcher. Here's the pitch. And she's going to swing, foul tip, a changeup. As Keene was looking down the third baseline, and that pitch kind of floated towards the outside corner. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be hit over the first base dugout. Ball will make its way towards the sand out there where they have the volleyball net. Count now 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Keene. Lopez at third base. We're in a 10-0 game. And ball's going to be stopped there by the catcher. So it's a full count. It's got a full count here. Keene bats that open stance. Here's the pitch. That's not a strike. Keene's going to strike out, but that's going to record the second out of the inning, but that should have been ball number 4. Jordan throws another strike. So that's another strike for the Lady Eagles. And Trail back into the batter's box. That ball going to be outside for ball number 1. So the count now 1-1. Had a leadoff double by Barrera. And she's still standing over at third with 2 outs, so we don't need to strand her. Here's the pitch to Trail. Trail's going to hit this one towards the shortstop. It's off of her right foot. Everybody will be safe. That'll score Barrera, and Trail will reach base safely over at first base. The score now 11-0. Coach Fuentes makes his way down towards the home plate umpire, and I believe there's going to be a batter here, a batting change. I think this is Grady. So Grady's going to get an opportunity to bat. She'll bat from the right side here. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss inside. It'll get by the catcher, but no one will advance here as Trail stays at first base. Big long pause. Here's the pitch by Jordan. That's going to get by the catcher. So count now 2 balls and no strikes. So 2 balls, no strikes.
That's frozen on us too.
It is frozen. Here's Jordan's pitch. Grady's going to ground this one towards the shortstop. She'll glove it. She'll throw on to first base, and that's a nice play there to record the final out of the inning as Grady's going to be thrown out at first base. So that's the end of the third inning. On to the fourth. Your Lady Lions lead by a score of 11-0. You're listening to Lady Lions softball.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. With sale barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa, we're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
Located on Highway 283 South, Easy Feed and Supply is your hometown headquarters for complete animal nutrition. We carry lawn and garden, hunting and fishing supplies, along with wildlife and pet feed. Let us load you up in our drive-through warehouse. Need something delivered? We can come to you with our blower buggy to fill your corn and protein feeders, along with delivery of sacked feed and round or square bales of hay. Not only does Easy Feed have all your farming and ranching supplies, it's now the proud home of Parsons Beef, where you can get your prime Wagyu and Angus beef straight from our Texas ranches. Easy Feed and Supply, proudly serving Albany since 2011.
With live action. All right, welcome back. Not sure, we may have some video issues. Maybe my audio's coming in. Lady Lions lead by a score of 11-0, I believe. Brera back out to pitch the top of the fourth inning. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be hit off the handle, and it'll roll towards the first base dugout. Count now 0-2, so no balls, 2 strikes here. We're in the fourth inning. Lady Lions has had a strong pitching performance. Strong pitching performance by Brera. That's going to be a strike, and that'll be a strikeout for out number 1. I got out number 1 by Barrera's strikeout, and this will bring up one of the Lady Eagles here, and that pitch is going to miss. Nope, it's going to be a called strike on the inside corner, so it's a called strike. So no balls, 1 strike here. Brera back into the circle here. Lopez over at first base, creeping in, and that pitch is going to be a swing and a miss for out or strike number 2. So 2 strikes here, no balls. So 0-2 count here. It's Brera working quickly. You got Matty Parrott playing catcher. First baseman Lopez. You got Grady over at second base. That's going to be hit towards Keene, and Keene's going to let it get underneath their glove. It'll get into left field. The runner's around first, headed to second. Oh, had the tag applied, and he's going to call her out. He gave her the out sign. The ball was caught by Grady, and she applied the tag. When she applied the tag, he called her out, but then the ball fell out of Grady's glove and fell to the dirt. His umpire called her out. And now the coach for the Lady Eagles is out to argue the call. The runner still stands at second base. That ball got right underneath the glove of Keene. Had a pretty good relay out here. Now he's going to call her safe. That's the right call. He got it straight, which is extremely uncommon. I mean, I've coached a lot of sports, and I've never won an argument like that. At least not without getting the other umpire involved. The home plate umpire was never asked what he saw or anything. The umpire just changed his mind. So now a runner at second base. It's the first Lady Eagle to reach base after the first inning. First inning, they had the bases loaded, but it was because of walks. Nobody hit the ball. But now here in the top of the fourth inning, Lady Eagles have a runner at second base. Now they're going to try to steal over to third, and she will. So now a runner at third base. Still just 1 out. So 1 out with a runner at third base. Lady Lions leading 11-0. Brera back into the circle here. Here's the pitch. And it's going to be slowly grounded towards the first base dugout and foul. Really late swing that nearly looked like swung and hit the mitt of Parrott. No catcher interference called. So the count now 0-2. So no balls, 2 strikes here, 1 out. Runner at third base. Brera's pitch is going to be fouled off. Got to give credit to this Lady Eagle hitter here. She's really battling against Barrera. See if Brera can get that strikeout pitch. As we're trying to work through our camera issues, so bear with us. We didn't realize that the camera had froze up. Here's Barrera's pitch. That's going to be a called strike as it gets the outside corner. That's out number 2. Parrott rolled the ball towards the pitching circle, and she was going to go off the field. Luckily, Barrera was there to pick up the softball and keep the runner at third base. Now 2 outs. So we've got 2 outs here. Barrera with the delivery. That's going to be a strike. The left fielder here for the Lady Eagles up the bat. That is Pinson. So Pinson up the bat. Swing and a miss. Pinson had a great catch out there in left field to end the inning. And the bottom of the 3rd inning. And now she's down 0-2 to Brera, and Brera a strike away from straining a runner at third base. Here's her pitch. That's going to be a called strike as she catches the outside corner for a strikeout, and that will end the inning. So your Lady Lions leading 11-0. We'll be right back.
Where a handshake is our word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. Western Livestock is a family-owned and operated livestock auction and order buying company with more than 30 years of experience. The buying power in our seats ensures top dollar for your livestock to allow you to keep doing what you love. Sell barns in Oklahoma City, Comanche, and Woodward, Oklahoma, and Knoxville, Iowa. We're large enough to serve you, but small enough to know you. To learn more, call 940-631-2333 or visit westerncommissioncompany.com.
No, so it's still frozen. Yes. Okay. Are you talking about the camera must stay on folder? Okay. Heddle cam. Okay. Yes. Deactivate. Oh. Okay. It says unconnected. Yes. It's a black screen with a red unconnected. Yes. That did not work.
All right, we're back here. Score is going to be an out. Graham's going to get thrown out at third base. Score still stays at Lady Lions 11. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Trying to work through some issues with our camera. And Jace is trying to pull double duty here, and he's running back and forth trying to figure out our camera. Lady Lions leading 11-0. That ball's going to be fouled off down the third base line, and pitcher for Lady Eagles, Starting pitcher Jordan still in the pitching circle. Here's the pitch. That's a swing and a miss. Count now 0-2. Pinson, the left fielder, she moves fairly deep out in left field. She moves way back. Here's the pitch. That's going to be a strikeout. So Parrott will go down on a strikeout, and that'll bring up Brown. So 2 quick outs here for the Lady Eagles defense, and Lady Lions really having their first situation of no success here in the bottom of the 4th inning, but leading 11-0. And Brown back into that box, crowds the plate. Here's the pitch. That's going to miss low and inside. So the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Got 2 outs here. Clouds have started to break away. It's a lot of blue skies here in Albany, Texas. When the wind continues to kind of gust somewhere around 10 to 14 miles an hour. So it kind of it's blowing out towards center field here. So any really hard hit softball can kind of get up in this wind and carry towards the outfield. And Brown's going to swing and miss at a pitch that appeared to be a little low in the zone. So the count now 3 balls and 1 strike here. Bottom of the 4th inning, 11-0. Here's the pitch. And that's going to be a walk of Brown. So Brown will walk. She'll be rewarded first base. This will bring up Hefner. Hefner's been had a couple of loud outs. As Jordan's pitch is going to miss high for ball number 1. So 1 ball, no strikes here. A nice crowd over in the stands around home plate. Okay. Then a few of these Albany faithful got their lawn chairs out here beyond the fence. Most of them in right field and out here towards center field. And one low. Count now 3-0 to Hefner. It's got a 3-0 count to Hefner and an 11-0 Albany lead. Brown standing at second base here with 2 outs. Pitch is going to. All right, so Brown's going to get the third base. Hefner's going to get the walk. So Hefner over to first base. Brown takes a steal of third. The Lady Lions now leading, or runners at first and third with an 11-run lead. Trying to attack on a few runs here. This will bring up Barrera. Barrera led off the last inning with a stand-up double. So Barrera had the stand-up double. She's had quite the pitcher performance from the circle this afternoon. Here's the pitch. That's going to be hit right to the third baseman. She'll glove it onto first base. Nice play there by the third baseman, and that'll be the final out of the inning. So the Lady Lions are going to leave a couple stranded. Barrera hit one sharply right at the third baseman. So we're on to the 5th inning. Your Lady Lions still lead by a score of 11-0. You're listening to Lady Lions softball. Oh. Back up. Oh. Down. Down. Stop moving. Whoa. Now move it left. Whoa. Too much. moving slow. That's good. Right there. That's not great, but
Yeah, I can zoom it out.
okay, zoom it out a little maybe. That's going in. Yeah. Whoa. That'll probably work.
Just that everything under the sun's happened at this point.
Is my mic still on?
I believe so. I'll tune in real quick.
All right, waiting for the top of the 5th inning here as Barrera has finished up her warm-up pitches, and we're waiting for the umpire. He's calling the outs at the bases to make his way back onto the playing field. This ball's going to be skied back towards the dugouts. That's going to be a strike number 1. So Barrera's had a great pitching performance. Had some video issues, but we worked through that. I think we got the video back up and working, so let's give Jace a pat on the back for working his magic over there and figuring out the issues. And that pitch by Barrera is going to miss up in the zone, so the count now 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike here. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Your Lady Lions leading 11-0. Lady Lions can somehow get 3 outs here, they would end this game in the 10-run rule fashion. So Barrera is really, I guess he's recorded every out via the strikeout besides 1 ball that was hit to Keene, and Keene fired it over to first base to Lopez for an out. And that ball's going to be hit for a base hit. It gets in between Grady and Lopez, and it'll be relayed back in by Graham. So that may officially be the first hit of the afternoon for the Lady Eagles. Last inning they got a runner that reached third base, but it was on a ball that was hit under the glove of Keene, the third baseman. It allowed her to get on base. So a leadoff single, and the official first hit for the Lady Eagles of the afternoon has a runner at first base here, and Lady Lions pitcher Barrera fires in one right down the middle for strike number 1. At the Clear Fork Bank video or a scoreboard in left field, it says Lady Lions 11, visitors 0, and a swing and a miss. That's going to be strike number 2, so an 0-2 count here. So no balls, 2 strikes. Runner at first base here. Lady Lions need 3 outs. Swing and a miss on a fastball that caught the inner part of the strike zone, but batter was kind of stepping out of the way as she swung. That'll be a strikeout and out number 1 of the inning. You can hear these Lady Eagle players in the first base dugout starting to chant, trying to get something started here, but Barrera is really having her A game this afternoon, and she's pitched extremely well. Brown, the center fielder, she plays pretty much straight away dead center. It's going to be a swing and a miss. The runner will advance up to second base. So now a runner stands at second base, and I'd like to see Barrera keep that 0 on the scoreboard. She's really started slowly. I mean, she's pitched well the whole game, but in that first inning she had the bases loaded and only had 1 out, and she was able to get out of that inning. And then Lady Lions scored 3 runs in that first inning, and then had that big second inning that scored 7 runs. Swing and a miss. That's going to be out number 2. The runner will take third base now. So runner at third base. for the Lady Eagles, and Brera has 2 outs here, and we're in the top of the 5th inning, I believe. Graham, your right fielder, she's kind of fighting the sun. She's having to use her glove to kind of shade her eyes, and so is Brown over here in center field. So they kind of hold their glove up towards the sun and kind of shade. Maybe they can pick up the softball if it's hit to them. Count now is 0-1. So no balls, 1 strike. Here's Barrera's pitch. Swing and a miss on a pitch that seemed to be the rise ball as it started off towards the middle part of the belt of the Lady Eagle batter, but then just kind of kept working up towards the letters across her jersey. Here's the pitch. And it's going to be a ball. That might be a situation where if Parrott catches that, that may be the a strike, but it kind of squirted away from her glove, and usually these umpires will not call it a strike unless the catcher catches it. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here, 2 outs, runner at third base. Here's the pitch, and it goes over the head of the batter, nearly hits her, and it caroms off the backstop right back to Parrott, and then Parrott was able to underhand it to Barrera, and that'll keep the runner over at third base. Coach Fuentes relays the pitch in. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That's going to be fouled off right at the plate. So the batter will stay with an official at bat here. So she'll have an opportunity to extend her bat with that foul ball. Just barely getting her bat on it. Now Parrott gets the sign from Fuentes. Here's Barrera's pitch. Swing and a miss. That's going to be a strikeout. And that will end the inning. So the Lady Lions will strike out the Lady Eagles, and that will end our ball game. So that'll be the mercy rule. The Lady Lions are going to win 11-0. So great job there by Coach Fuentes and his softball girls as they've come away with a district victory over Abilene TLCA Lady Eagles by a score of 11-0. For Jace Tinkle, I'm Tony Wheeler. Until next time, go Lions and Lady Lions.